In the eyes of others, this is an ordinary box of milk, but in his eyes, it is the key to escape. Tear open the milk box. There is a layer of transparent film inside. Take advantage of the prison guard's absence. Secretly stick it on the combination lock. So when the prison guard enters the password, it will leave behind a 4-digit fingerprint. Then through calculation, you can get 24 permutations and combinations. And then it's time to try the password. But how can we come across the combination lock? Only to see Uncle Long crumple the paper into a small ball. Then use the same method to crumple many more. Finally, wrap them all together. Wait for the prison guard to inspect the room. Secretly stuff it into the keyhole. This way, even if the prison guard locks the window, it can still be opened from the inside directly. Then reach out with the hand. Try out the correct password. However, the prison is filled with surveillance cameras. In order not to be discovered by the prison guard, Uncle Long pays attention to the outside movements every day, in order to grasp the prison guard's activity patterns. After careful observation, he discovered that every noon, the prison guards would run to the balcony outside to smoke. And this was also his best opportunity to escape. But in order to escape successfully, it's not enough to just leave the cell, because Long Shu was well aware that all successful escapes must meet 3 conditions. First, understanding the guards' routines. Second, being familiar with the layout of the prison. Third, having someone outside to assist. Now the routines have been understood, and the layout of the prison, he already understood clearly. After observation, he discovered the weakest point of the entire prison was the adjacent fire station, and the closest location to the fire station was the solitary confinement cell of the prison. So in order to enter the solitary confinement cell, Long Shu deliberately got into a fight with other inmates, and was eventually successfully locked up. Then, taking advantage of the prison guard's smoke break, secretly pressed the password and escaped from the prison cell. Then followed the ventilation duct to the fire station, and quickly changed into firefighting gear. And at this moment, arrived at the final condition. Support, only saw the outside comrades timing it perfectly. Directly detonated the car behind. The firefighters quickly rushed out, while Long Uncle hid under the car. Finally escaped successfully, directly got into the comrade's car and left. And his true identity is actually not a criminal, but rather employed by the Federal Prison Administration. A prison escape master, specializes in testing the security of various prisons. In the past 5 years, he has successfully escaped 20 times. No prison has been able to keep him locked up. On this day, CIA agents found him, and wanted him to test a maximum security prison, because this prison houses the most dangerous criminals in the world. They wanted to ask for Long Uncle's help, check if this prison is safe, although Long Shu was a little worried after hearing it. But in the end, he still agreed. Just to be safe, his companion even installed a locator on Long Shu. But on the day of the arrest, the other party directly stunned Long Shu. Then they dragged him into the car, as if they knew in advance. They took away the locator on him. When Long Shu woke up, he found himself already taken to the prison. Seeing the other party being so brutal, Long Shu directly said the retreat code, ready to give up, but the warden was unmoved after hearing it. He directly ordered someone to lock him up. At this moment, Long Shu couldn't think of it. It was actually one of his companions who betrayed him, planning to collude with the warden to keep him locked up forever. This is the most secure prison in the world. The prison cell is surrounded by tempered glass. It is also equipped with 360-degree cameras. The guards are fully armed. They patrol non-stop for 24 hours. It's impossible to escape from a prison like this. It's simply not possible. However, as a top-notch prison escape expert, he quickly came up with a plan to escape. On that day, Gang was put in solitary confinement for fighting. Suddenly, he noticed a steel nail on the ground. Instantly, he had a prison escape plan, but he still needed a helper at that moment. While he was thinking about who to ask, his cellmate, Das Han, suddenly approached him, and asked if he needed help. Seeing that the other person was friendly, Long Shu asked Das Han to get him a piece of metal. Soon, Das Han went to the warden's office, and deliberately provoked him with his words. The next moment, the warden immediately ordered his subordinates to pin Das Han to the ground, and kept pouring water into his mouth, to torture him. Meanwhile, Das Han took the metal piece from the sewer, and handed it over to Uncle Long. Seeing that the other party helped him, Uncle Long then made it clear to him his identity as an escape master, and after his observation, he discovered that all the buildings here were vertical. This meant that they were likely being held underground, and there were drainage pipes below the confinement room. Therefore, they could crawl out through the pipes. After devising a plan, the two intentionally fought each other. They were locked back in the confinement room again. Uncle Long then used a piece of metal. He focused the strong light from the confinement room onto a steel nail, Eventually, under high temperature, the steel nail expanded. Uncle Long quickly pried it up. Then he put the bread in his mouth. Then he tapped on the floor to signal Da Shan. Da Shan heard it, and immediately started shouting loudly, in order to attract the attention of the control room. Meanwhile, Uncle Long took the opportunity to block the surveillance with the bread in his mouth. Then he lifted the floor of the solitary confinement room. He crawled out along the pipeline. When he reached the bottom, he quickly climbed up the water pipe. But when he finally climbed up, he was stunned by the scene in front of him, because their location was not underground, but on a ship in the vast sea. If he chose to jump into the sea, it would be suicide. In desperation, Uncle Long had no choice but to climb back, and then come up with another plan. While this prisoner was eating, he secretly made an escape tool under the table. He placed a pair of glasses on a cardboard. Then he attached a pen and a glass tube. A sextant for measuring direction was then completed. Afterwards, he persuaded another inmate to obtain from the warden the opportunity to prey on the deck, and the inmate took the opportunity to use the sextant to calculate their location. After obtaining the measurement data, Long Uncle quickly deduced they are currently in the subtropical calm belt, plus the water is rotating counterclockwise, so in the northern hemisphere. Therefore, he deduced the place where they were imprisoned should be near the coast of Morocco. After confirming the location, the next step is to find someone for support. Long Uncle first used illness as an excuse, and went to the doctor's office, then secretly used the computer to send the location information to the outside companions. Immediately after, he started his own escape plan. On this day, the prison warden, through surveillance, discovered that Long Uncle was constantly. After deciphering, it was found out they are planning a riot in Zone C. So the prison warden quickly dispatched a large number of guards to be stationed in Zone C. Unexpectedly, this was actually Long Uncle's deliberate plan to lure the tiger out of the mountain. Due to a large number of guards being deployed to Zone C, this left only 2 prison guards in Zone A. Seeing that the timing was right, the prisoners immediately started a riot in Zone A. Meanwhile, Long Shu took Das Han with him in the chaos and climbed towards the deck. Unexpectedly, the gate was locked by an electronic lock, so Long Shu decided to leave Das Han behind and went alone to the power supply room to cut off the power. He effortlessly took care of the guards and then shut off the power. Meanwhile, Das Han successfully opened the gate and climbed onto the deck. At this time, the helicopter responsible for the extraction had arrived. However, Long Shu was blocked by the warden in the power supply room. In order to buy time for Long Shu to escape, Das Han picked up a machine gun and launched an attack on the approaching guards. Meanwhile, the other warden became angry because he couldn't find Long Shu. He angrily ordered his subordinates to restore the power. Little did he know that Long Shu was hiding in the water compartment at that moment, waiting quietly for the right moment. With the restoration of electricity, the water chamber starts filling with water, eventually, directly flushing Long Shu out. After Long Shu resurfaces from the sea, Das Han quickly throws the ladder down. Unexpectedly, the warden arrives at this moment. Critical moment. Das Han throws a handgun to Long Shu. After Long Shu receives it, he shoots at the oil drums on the boat. Before the warden can react, Long Shu directly shoots and ignites the gasoline. The explosion happens instantly. In the end, the 2 of them successfully escape.